So we'll go into the predictions, Matt, and we'll do our previews of the games in our predictions. And while we're on about Group 2, we'll stay with that big clash between South Liberties and Monaleen. So you can kind of give us a rundown of how you think it's going to go, and then your overall prediction, Matt.
I was disappointed with Monaleen in the first round. I thought they would have done better, Jack. They're All-Ireland champions, and whether they're suffering an All-Ireland hangover or not, I don't know. But I thought they would have got off to a better start. South Liberties, Jack, are in difficulty. They've lost a lot of players, like between players transferring out and players retiring, and they had a poor performance in the first round. And I'm going to go with Monaleen to recapture the type of form that propelled them to All-Ireland champions last year, and I think they'll win by about 2 or 3 points, Jack. Say 3 points because you'll be giving your prediction as well.
Yeah, I was going to go with 3 as well, but I'll go 2 for Monaleen. Just with that, South Liberties have been decimated. Doon's problem has been injuries, but South Liberties have lost a lot of lads to retirement and transfers, as you said. So hard for them to regroup. And maybe just for Monaleen, it was a case of just getting to grips with the senior ranks again and understanding just how difficult it is. So I think they'll regroup this week and get a narrow win, and that'll put them on course to move up the table. But obviously would put South Liberties behind the 8 ball very early on in the championship. Mungret St. Paul's.
It's a big fall. It would be a very big fall for South Liberties, county semi-finalists last year, to struggling to stay afloat this year, but it's the fact of the matter, like that no club possibly could sustain the type of losses of personnel that they had, as I said, through 1 or 2 transferring out and people retiring, coming to the end of their natural cycle, and it's going to be difficult for South Liberties, I think, but a win against Monaleen could change all that. But if you're asking me to predict, I'm going with Monaleen.
Yeah, I'll go as well. Mungret St. Paul's versus Ghari-Spillane, 2 teams coming off the back of differing results, but Ghari-Spillane beat Mungret St. Paul's last year. They're a seasoned senior team at this stage. This is their 5th year, I think, in the top tier. But how do you see this one playing out?
This is going to be a tight one, Jack, because you'll have contrasting styles, and you're going to have a seasoned team of Ghari-Spillane, typical old-style championship hurlers, digging deep and all that sort of thing. And you have a Mungret St. Paul's team who will be, flying out of the traps, moving the ball at speed around the place and all that sort of thing. I'm going for Mungret St. Paul's to avenge that result by 2 points. I think Mungret St. Paul's will do it on this occasion, Jack.
Yeah, it's interesting there you said about the styles. I think that's what caught Mungret last year, that Ghari-Spillane will, if needs be, they obviously have some lovely hurlers, but if needs be, can take you into a fight. And I think Mungret have got better at dealing with things like that. And they've obviously some exceptionally good forwards. Their inside line the last day was Niall Mulcahy, who was obviously lined out with Kerry, Paul O'Brien, who played a lot of underage for Limerick, and with Ard's Kilreash as well, and Liam Lynch, that we've spoken about in depth on this pod before, that they just have huge firepower, and I think that'll guide them to victory. So I'm going to say Mungret by 6. I know it's a big margin, but we saw a lot of big margins in the first round, so I think that might continue. And
I mentioned earlier on in the cast, Jack, about the loss of Onchy and his big loss to Ghari-Spillane.
Huge loss. And that will be a factor for a lot of teams this year, is immigration and boys away and even injuries after long. The split season is great in one way, but if you pick up an injury anytime around August, July, you could be gone for the entire year. So you have to keep that in mind. But then I suppose the big game of the round is that of Ballybrown and Adair, as you said, 2 teams that picked up wins in the first round, 2 teams that would see themselves as sides that should be in Group 1, have obviously been in the very top tier in recent years. Adair last year, Ballybrown the year before. 2 sides that know each other well, Matt. Which way are you going for? Another game that's on Limerick SHC. Which way are you going for?
Well, Declan Hannon is going to be, if Declan Hannon is missing, he's a huge loss to Adair. And I think I'm going for Ballybrown on that one for that reason. that it will tilt it in Ballybrown's favour, because in my opinion, looking at them, there is nothing between these two sides. I'm going for Ballybrown by 1.
Ballybrown by 1. Is it safe to say that if Declan Hannon was lining out, you'd be going the other way for the men in red and black?
Possibly, but that's a hypothesis, Jack.
Yeah, and I suppose, look, they both won comprehensive in the first round, but Ballybrown beat a team that were absolutely flying in one lane. Like, I know it's been a while since the All Ireland, but their previous game was in Croke Park and a winning in Croke Park. So I just think Ballybrown should have went up last year. I think they will this year, and I think they'll take another step towards that. I'm tipping Ballybrown by 4 points. So in Group 2, we're all the same. Mungret, Monleen, Ballybrown with differing points differentials. Into Group 1 then, Matt. A Thursday night on Limerick SHC, we have a hand versus Kilmallock. Or I think we have a hand versus Kilmallock live. I'll check that in a minute for you. But and Kilmallock, obviously, 2 first-round winners. A hand beat KP. Kilmallock beat Doon. Although the result in the Kilmallock Doon game was a lot heavier, a hand were very comfortable for most of the game in Cappamore. They didn't trail, I'd say, after 5 minutes and kind of cruised their way to victory. Can you see a hand upsetting the odds here, or Kilmallock let out another statement?
I saw him playing last year, and it was very, very tight. And that there is a tradition between these two sides of games being quite tight. Like, you must remember that 2 of the foremost teams in the county and 2 of the most successful teams in the county. But there was an awful lot that I liked about the look of Kilmallock in the win over Doon. I thought, notwithstanding the number of players that Doon were missing, but like, if you still have the like of Ben Mulcahy and Robbie handy to add to your squad, like, you're in a strong position. I'm going for Kilmallock, and they certainly won't have it as easy as they had against Doon. But I have an awful feeling that they're focused similar to the way that they were 2 years ago, and I think they're going to take a bit of stopping this year. So I'm going for Kilmallock by 2.
Kilmallock by 2, tight margin. I'm going Kilmallock by 7. That has nothing to do with a hand. I just think, again, Kilmallock's firepower. We mentioned it talking about the game with Doon. Obviously, Oisin O'Reilly, Shane O'Brien are standout names. If you're going to add Graham Mulcahy back into the mix, Robbie Egan, Phelan O'Reilly, Conor Handley Clark, they just have a plethora of talent in their disposal. I think they'll go all the way this year. But I'll get your prediction on who will be the outright winner in a while, because we missed you for the preview. But I'm going Kilmallock by 7. Also on Thursday night, Patrickswell versus Doon. Again, 2 teams coming in really contrasting results. Obviously, Patrickswell were big winners over Na Piarsaigh. Doon lost heavily to Kilmallock, down an awful lot of players. For me, I can't see past Patrickswell. I'm going the Well by 5 points, led by Aaron Gillan, Cian Lynch, and Darren Burns are 3 of the top 7 hurlers in the country. So to be on one team against a team that has lost an awful lot of players, I think it's one-way traffic. Also on Thursday night, what do you think?
I'm going Patrickswell by 4 for the very same reason that I thought Aaron Gillan was just outstanding, the way he finished that goal and everything. But Cian Lynch, stopped and controlled everything around the middle against Na Piarsaigh. Dermot Burns, I thought, was immense at centre back. And if you see, you've 3 potential hurlers of the year here. That we could have 4 hurler of the year gongs between them come the end of the year. And not only that, but from a Patrickswell point of view, 1 in defence, 1 in midfield, 1 in attack. There's a grand spread out of your top players. As I said, I think Patrickswell are really contenders. That obviously, they have learned a sore lesson from losing to South Liberties in the quarter-final last year. I'm going for the Well by 4, Jack.
Well by 4. Just a 1 point difference there. And to round out the games, also on Limerick SHC on Friday night in Claghon, Na Piarsaigh versus Kildare-Pallaskenry. Both sides losing the opening round. Obviously, it's a must-win game for both teams. I think Na Piarsaigh are still the bookies' favourites to win it out, but they won't have it easy against KP.
They won't, because Kildare-Pallaskenry, they know what they have to do at this stage, and they're already in a scrap. It's welcome to life at the top tier. Big question mark, of course, will be William O'Donoghue. Should William O'Donoghue be playing? If he will, that will make a huge difference. But I still think that Na Piarsaigh will have enough, and Na Piarsaigh will be stung by losing the first round, Jack. And there will be fair analysis and forensic examination going on in Na Piarsaigh this week as to why and how it happened. And I think they're going to go bounce back, and I'm going for Na Piarsaigh by 5.
Na Piarsaigh by 5. I'll go one more. Na Piarsaigh by 6. The loss of William is massive. I think it's probably one of the bigger players to lose in the entire championship, such as his influence around the midfield. But I do think they'll just have probably too much for KP, and it'll be interesting to see how Kildare react, because they haven't had a setback like that in a long, long time. I know they've lost county finals and lost semi-finals that time, but just to be comfortably beaten by a team for the majority of the game will sting them, and be interesting to see how they regroup. But those are our games for the weekend. Na Piarsaigh versus KP on Fridays on Limerick TV. The previous night on Thursday, Ahan Kilmallock is on Limerick TV, and on Sunday, Ballybrown versus Adair in Group 2. That really interesting game is also live on Limerick TV. So don't miss out on those games.